Meeting to order. 6:30 p.m. Roll call, Councilor Burrell.
Here.
Councilor Bordelon.
Here.
Councilor Fitzgerald.
Here.
Councilor Good.
Here.
Councilor Jones.
Here.
Councilor McBride informed me that he would be absent this evening. Councilor Merritt is absent this evening. Councilor Pacino.
Here.
And myself, Mayor Parker. Calendar and communications, Councilor Good.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just been busy listening to all of the public meetings on the Town of Groton YouTube channel, and I have nothing else this week.
Thank you. Councilor Fitzgerald.
I just attended the initial public hearing for the Groton Heights meeting, and was very pleased with the turnout, as well as the presentation from our hopeful future partners. And that's it.
Thank you. Councilor Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yesterday, we had the Thrive 55 pop-up with United Way at Thrive 55 yesterday afternoon. We had 110 families come, which is great. It was a nice improvement over or maybe not an improvement, but an increase in people coming from the previous one, and the goal is to try to grow this. So we have grown from 88, I think 87, 88 to 110. And a big thanks to Electric Boat for their volunteers, and I was joined by Mayor Parker. We both volunteered there, so that was great. And then last night, I also with Mayor Parker attended the fundraiser for the Mystic Noack Library, Books on Tap, at Milestone down in Mystic, and it was a terrific event. Senator Summers was there, other dignitaries were there, and so it was a very, very good turnout, and people read stories, articles, poems, whatever they feel they had. So it was a lot of fun and for a really good cause. So that's it.
Councilor Pacino.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have anything to pass at this moment.
Thank you. Councilor Burrell.
Myself, I have nothing that passes.
Thank you. Councilor Bordelon.
Thank you. First, I just want to thank the town manager. I've had some community people reach out to me, folks in our community that have reached out needing help and assistance. And one of the folks that he was helping me with that didn't get the award last month was able to get some funds this month to help. So I just appreciate you, helping our community. And, I just want to say that, this particular person, which I'm not going to name, was extremely happy, and, you could see that stress relief, by getting that help from Human Services. So it's very compassionate. I also attended, along with Councilor Fitzgerald, at the St. Patrick's Day annual fundraise dinner. It was great. I got my tickets, and I usually attend every year. I did miss one, but it's a great fundraiser to go out and support the parade. It helps, offset some of the costs to run that. So it was great time had by all, and it was a lot of fun. I also want to just send a thoughts and sympathy to folks in our community that are directly being affected by some of the bombings and war overseas. There are still Americans that can't get out, and I've had some friends that have had family members that have been traveling and couldn't get out of certain areas, but also directly affected. My son, who graduated from Fitch in 2024, who's now 20, has a friend who's serving over in Saudi Arabia right now, who is in the reserves and has been part of the area that's being bombed or has been bombed. And so I just want to, send my sympathy and empathy to everybody in our community that's indirectly and directly being affected by this. We are all being affected by it. The price is already starting to go up. I know my gas went up. I saw oil go up. So it's going to have an effect on everybody. And but the cost of life and injury and mental health is also going to have a toll down the road. Also, I was watching, to see, because I knew the CIF, the community development project grants were going to be coming awarded, and unfortunately I saw that we were not awarded. I can ask the town manager more after. Looks like 62.9 million was sent out over 38 communities. Some communities got more than one, depending on how many things that they put in for, or the individual organizations. So I guess the seawall did not move forward. So that will be interesting to see. With that, a lot of things that were approved did seem to fit along the lines of like the athletic task, like the fields or other things. I know that we hairpinned it down to only allowing the seawall to go through, which I did have my concerns at that time. And unfortunately, they've come to fruition. So, I kind of wish we would have applied for something that maybe had a stronger chance of actually getting funded, like the athletic fields for, which would be a huge asset to our community. A lot of parks were approved. Thank you, and that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Ready? Thank you for everyone coming out for the presentation for ECHO this evening. I attended the United States Coast Guard billet presentation. Congratulations to all for what they wanted for their assignment. So wonderful evening with Mayor Passero and Mayor Rusk. Councilor Jones talked about United Way and a reading on tap for Mystic New Ink Library. I also attended Ramadan celebration on Sunday evening, and I'd like to thank ICNL for the invitation. So I hope to be able to reach out more with the community. So, and that's all I have to report. Council Good, can you take, wait a minute, sorry. Mr. Burt, did you have anything to report?
I do.
Okay. Your question?
Sure. To the town manager, I appreciate you setting that update about human services and the funding. Can you just update everybody on camera about that, just so it's on the record?
Sure. For the general assistance fund, that newer fund for human services, that's down to 1,500. However, we have other funding available. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. I think it was in the 50,000 range to 55, 60,000 in the donation fund. We have some other utility funds and a food locker fund. However, I'm leaning towards having the director come to the next cow because I don't want to deplete all the other funds, so I'll probably have her come before you at the next cow to up the money. And in the meantime, if we go negative, we can make it up later. We could go a little bit in the red, and there's always, we could do a fourth quarter if we had to as another option. So we'll figure it out.
Okay, that's great to hear. And then regarding the community development grant, did you get any updates on that yet?
Which thing?
The CIF?
I've not received anything myself. I've heard that the seawall didn't go, but I've not received any paperwork on anything.
Will there be something that we get back from them that will state why, like, or,
Well,
I mean, I was gonna reach out to
yeah,
them
I don't know
myself.
how much detail they usually put in those, but I'll ask the planning director to forward to me once I get it. I can distribute it certainly to the council.
It'd be great to know, so we know, when these come up again, why, what they're looking for, so it's a good learning opportunity.
Sure.
And then, just also want to thank the town manager. I received a call over the weekend from a constituent that was really upset by the cooling that was happening at Par 4, saying it was extremely cold there because they can't control the thermostat. It was, people were wearing coats. It was down to 50-something degrees, and John Burt, like town manager, handled it right away. So just appreciate, you taking on that message. So.
Sure. And just to point out, there is that can be controlled. We're at that awkward time of year for heat and cold. I did send an update to the council, and there is phone numbers for them to call when there are any issues. The manager was out of town for the weekend, and the remaining staff didn't know who to call. So Portia came to the rescue.
Yeah, thank you for your help.
Counselor
No,
Bordelot, sorry.
you rescued it. Thank you, John.
All right, moving on to approval of minutes. Council Good, could you please take that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to approve the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes of February 24th, 2026.
Second, Jones?
Motion made by Council Good and seconded by Council Jones. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. That's 7-0 to 0.
I'm abstaining. Thank you. There was no other call for it, so.
6-0 to 1. New business. We- Actually, we're going to do the presentation first. Mr. Berry is online. Thank you, Mr. Berry, for being online this evening.
You're welcome. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. I'm getting over the flu. John didn't want me spreading germs.
Thank you. So I'm going to actually have you present first, and then we'll read the motion.
Oh, okay, great. Good evening, Mark Berry, Director of Parks and Recreation. On the call with me is Eric Morrison, who's the golf course superintendent, and Todd Goodhue, who is the golf pro. So each year, we put together proposed rates and any changes in regulations, and those are presented to the council, which is why we're here this evening. To get to this point, there was a series of meetings, starting with the Golf Advisory Board, and then a joint meeting with the Parks and Recreation Commission. And at that joint Recreation and GAB meeting, they came up with a proposal for the new rates and some of the changes to regulations which are described in this referral. I would like to kind of go over the spreadsheet. There's a lot of information, and I kind of like just to do a summary first so that everybody is kind of on the same page. So the proposed 2026 rates for Shinnecock were developed with one primary goal in mind, and that's to ensure the long-term operational success and the financial stability of the course. So when we were building this budget, we looked to strike a careful balance between meeting projected operating and personal expenses, maintaining a competitive price with local courses that offer a similar play experience, and move towards rebuilding our fund balance so that we can continue making necessary investments in the course. So this proposal is not about maximizing revenue, it's about stabilizing operations and positioning Shinnecock for long-term success. So the spreadsheet is broken up into kind of three major sections. The top third is information about season passes, the middle third is green fees, and then the bottom third is tournaments and cart rentals. The first column, which is in green, lists the various season passes, greens fees, tournament rates, and cart rental options. The second column, which is in light blue, shows the current rates. And now when we move into the dark columns, that's the revenue section. So the first dark blue column shows the actual revenue from July 25 through January of 26, which would have been the first 6 months of the current fiscal year. The second dark blue column shows the projected revenue, assuming we expand to 400 plus or minus season pass holders and implement the proposed 2026 season pass holder green fee and cart rates. The salmon colored columns show the proposed 26 rates, percentage change for residents and non-residents, and the projected change in revenue. So the going back to the top, the season pass holders, the resident average increases range from 8 to 10%, and the non-resident average increases range from 9 to 13%. The variations between categories reflect efforts to align with market rates while ensuring we can maintain current course operations. Currently, we have over 250 season pass holders. For 2025, sales to new non-resident season pass holders was restricted. The Golf Advisory Board and the Parks and Recreation Commission are recommending lifting that restriction and working towards a target of 400 plus or minus season pass holders. Past experience has shown that 400 plus or minus season pass holders is a thoughtful balance between priorities. It provides stability in predicting revenue while preserving access for daily greens fee players. The greens fee, which is the middle third of the spreadsheet, the proposed increases include an average of 5% increase across all green fee categories. And again, these adjustments allow us to remain competitive with comparable courses, maintain the current level of course operations, and ensure that both season pass holders and daily players share in supporting the facility. The next third is tournament and cart rentals. We are not proposing any increase to tournament rates. Last year, tournament and pricing was adjusted from $70 to $85. While we did lose tournaments following that increase, however, this year we have already received several new tournament inquiries indicating that we believe the market is adjusting to the revised rate. Cart fees, the proposed cart fees reflect adjustment to market rates while keeping Shenandoah competitive and can meet operational expenses. The before 9 a.m. weekday rate is unique to Shenandoah and not offered at other courses that we compare ourselves with. While we recognize an increase impacts players, this rate continues to provide a value not available elsewhere. And it's important to note that the senior cart fee increased only 15% over the last 13 years, which is a modest adjustment over a long period. In order to meet course operations, we've evaluated all revenue streams within the operation. The GAB and the Parks and Recreation Commission feel strongly that sustaining Shenandoah should be a shared responsibility among all users, season pass holders, daily players, tournament participants. While we understand that increases may affect some individuals differently, the proposed rates are measured and moderate. They reflect market conditions, the need to maintain service levels, and the long-term health of the course. So the bottom line is these proposed changes strike a responsible balance between competitive market pricing, impact to players, and operational sustainability. If we want Shenandoah to remain a high-quality, municipally owned course that minimizes taxpayer contributions, we must ensure that revenue keeps pace with expenses and allows us to reinvest in the facility. These adjustments are necessary not simply for today's operation, but to position Shenandoah for long-term success. And we're open to answering any questions that the council may have.
Councilor Fitzgerald, could you please read the motion?
I recommend a resolution approving the 2026 Shenandoah Golf Course rates and changes to the rules and regulation proposed by the Golf Advisory Board and Parks and Recreation Commission.
Second, Burrell.
Motion made by Councilor Fitzgerald and seconded by Councilor Burrill. Discussion. Councilor Jones?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Director Barry. And I see the chairperson for the Golf Advisory Board is here. I just want to compliment, this is my first year of being on the Golf Advisory Board, and I just want to compliment the amount of work that everybody did to come up with these rates. It was a huge amount of work. We went back multiple times on this. The care of looking at us, as Director Barry said, looking at regional competition, making sure we're balanced in the region, finding rates that we need to raise the revenue, but keep in mind how that balances with our residents and non-residents. So I think I'm very, very comfortable with this. We did a lot of work on it. What's nice about the golf course is it's a self-sustaining golf course. So it pays for itself minus the CIPs like irrigation system or bunkers that need to be replaced. But the golf course itself, with these rates, takes care of itself and is an asset to the town and can thrive, can continue going on, which I think is something we should be proud of with this golf course. And we are able to, at these rates, if everything played out, put a little bit of money into the fund, and we can start to build that back up so we can, they can kind of pay for themselves and take a burden off of us the town having to go in and do it. So I'm very comfortable with this and support it, and we'll vote for it. And just amazed at the amount of work, I'm always amazed at the amount of work that some of the committees do, all the committees do in our town in supporting their area. So I think that's it.
Thank you. Counselor Good.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've been watching all of the golf board, golf advisory board meetings and the Park and Rec meeting, the combined meeting. Very impressed this year with how it went compared to last year, that's for sure. And I am fully in support of what they've come up with. I see this year we're expected to use 178,000, almost 179,000 out of the Gulf Fund balance, and it would be good to see that replenished next year. I think kudos to you guys, really. Thank you. That's all.
Any other hands? Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. I'm very familiar with, kind of how you guys go through this, as I was on the Golf Advisory Committee in the past, and I usually watch all the committee meetings just as a rule. So it's definitely, I don't need to spend my time to elaborate on the work that's been done. It's been there forever, like a lineage of it. So thank you to all the work that you guys do. But all the committees work hard, and that's part of the work of the committee. So with that, I had one question down here with the carts. I don't see anything for military discount. That's my first question.
That would be a new category. We have not had military discount for carts in the past.
I'm sorry?
That would be a new category that you're suggesting. We have not had military discounts specific for carts.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense, like, if you're gonna offer one, you're gonna say, here, come play, but you're not gonna offer it on the cart. I think that should be the same as the senior price, like across the board. So if you're doing senior rates for everything else with military kind of equivalent, it should be that for the cart rate. So that's my first thing that I'm thinking of, but I'll wait till my second turn, just kind of let that muster. Again, I just think it's important. When I did look at other towns, the cart rates like Norwich, ours would still be higher than a lot of the other courses. Have you guys looked at that?
Yes, we looked most closely at Norwich because we believe that is our, that course provides the closest playing experience to Shinnecossett.
And what were their cart rates?
I think it's 25. I can pull that up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I think that was 25. I think it was 25 and 20 were the two options that they had. It was 25 for 18 holes and 20 for 9 holes.
Okay. And then the other outlier, some people have reached out to me, there's no delineation between resident, non-resident when you start to drive the cart. So again, once we get to carts, it seems like all this grid kind of goes into its own separate ways, which is fine if that's your intention. I'm just, I'm here to speak for the people. It's not just my thought, right? Like, I'm elected to listen to the people who put me up here and they sent me questions. So the question is, under the carts, there's no resident versus non-resident fee and no military fee delineation.
Right, again, that you're proposing what we have not had in the past.
And is there a reason? That's why I'm asking.
I don't think that question has ever been raised before.
Yeah, I think it should be, because if we're going to talk about it on the top, using, greens and holes and age and all of that, and you're delineating out by resident versus non-resident, but when you get down to the carts, all of a sudden the resident versus non-resident becomes equal playing field for carts. And there's no military delineation and no resident versus non-resident fee. So that's what I would propose. I'm open to suggestions on that. I think it should, be roughly maybe what the seniors, so I guess I'll just throw that out there. I'll start with this one first, the military one. I'd like to make an amendment or modification to this to make it so that the cart fee reflects the senior rates for people 62 and above. That would be my recommendation.
No second?
I'll second. For discussion?
Is that a problem?
Okay, so repeat your,
You were like,
repeat your motion.
well, it seems like it's unwelcomed, it feels like.
Repeat your motion, I have to write it
No,
down.
I did not say it was unwelcome.
Not
No,
you,
no.
not to you. I'm talking to the mayor.
Decorum.
Okay. Well, I asked for the decorum as well, because once someone seconded, you stared at them for a minute as with, like, really? It's okay to second someone else's motion. So I
Can you
agree.
repeat your motion, please?
The fee would be the same as seniors for cards,
But
for military. I said it 3 times.
just to confirm, is there a separate set of cart fees under listing right here?
Yep, right here in the
It-
bottom line. Says it right there. You gotta-
Where does it say?
you
Because
gotta
I
open
see
up your
20.
paper.
I,
Open up your paper.
Excuse me.
Down here. You don't have your paper all the way at the bottom. That's, you're asking where, I'm showing you.
cart fees are $20 for an 18-hole. 9 is 13. Before 9 AM is 15. Where does it say
Do you see the
seniors?
62 plus on the end of that?
No, I did not see that.
Okay, that's the senior part. It's the same throughout, yeah,
So you want to add military to that?
correct.
How would that affect your thing? Does this have to go back to the Golf Advisory Board and Parks and Rec?
No.
I didn't ask you to speak, please. You don't have the floor.
Yeah, I don't, it would be difficult to answer that question. Well, you asked how it would impact. That's the question that I'm saying is difficult to answer. I don't know, I can't tell you the number of military personnel that play at our golf course. Perhaps Todd Goodhue could answer that question. I don't think it's a lot, but I could be wrong. He's there 6 days a week, so he could tell you much better than I could the number of military personnel that play at the golf course. And I know he is on the call.
Mr. Morrison or
I'm sorry, Todd Goodhue.
Mr. Todd? Oh, is he on the phone call?
Yes.
He's on the phone, okay. He probably can't respond. All right. All right, so there's been amendment been made to add military under military carts at the same price as seniors. All right, so that's another round of discussion.
And I'm sorry, just to answer your second question, I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't think it needs to go back to the Golf Advisory Board and the Parks and Rec Commission, because that would just delay this whole approval of rates another month. And with the snow disappearing as quickly as it is and the what I'm sure is pent-up demand to get back out on the course, we would like to implement the proposed new rates as soon as possible and not have to wait another month into the playing season.
Okay. All right, new motion. Go ahead, Councilor Burrell.
I just want to point out that I'm not against the military, but the thing is, but we're here, this whole motion right here is just to give them a $2.50 break on a cart fee, only $2.50. As much as I would like to give them that, the amount of effort's got to be done to have this done again, I don't think it's going to be worth it.
Point of information?
Counselor Barilla, you all set? Or-
Yeah, sorry, yes.
Okay. Your point of information?
My question is, my understanding, he just said it wouldn't have to go back, so it wouldn't change.
That's a statement.
I'm
That wasn't a
asking.
question.
I'm asking that. I want to make sure I heard him correctly. Is that true?
He
My
just-
recommendation was the council make a decision tonight and not turn this back to the Golf Advisory Board and the Parks and Recreation Commission. Due to the delay it would take in coming back to the council to arrange those meetings and come back to the council with revised rates.
I guess my point of information didn't get answered. I guess my point of information was, it would not, you stated that it would not have to go back if we added a military line, is my understanding, correct?
He just said yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
He
So it would-
said that twice. Okay. Mr. Burt, and then I'll go to Counselor.
I was just going to reiterate, yes,
Okay.
the council has the final say on it.
Counselor Jones.
It's nice that it doesn't have to go back. If it did have to go back, it would directly impact the revenue for the golf course, because the bulk of seasons passes are bought in April, May, and June. Very few seasons passes are bought after, you can actually see at the top. There are very few bought from July on. The bulk is April, May, June. So if it had to go back, these numbers would probably be affected greatly, and we probably wouldn't be in a plus, we'd be in a minus in terms of revenue, because we would lose we probably wouldn't get to do this until to May with the council. So it would have a huge impact if things have to go back at all.
Okay. Any other discussion? Counselor Good.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm speaking as a veteran. I don't feel that this is something that needs to be done. I think the rates are fine. They're well within reason for anybody who's out there playing golf. So I am not for this motion. Thank you.
Any other discussion? For first timers, please.
Sure.
Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. I guess my question is then, why are we delineating it out on everything else but the carts? Can you answer that? Because if it's not really feasible, and I can respect my other counselors who think $2, well, I mean, to a military person, when they go in and they get 10% off, and sometimes it's $10 off a $100 meal, they're happy to get that $10. I mean, they served our country. And also, we thrive ourselves on being the military capital of the world, and we put our submarine on everything in our town on a label, and so it only, to me, unifies that understanding that we, want to encourage more military to come play. So if we're not getting a high turnout, then I want to, bring in a more robust. And so I just want this to read more clearly, because we already have it up here for everything else but the cart. So, and I can respect my fellow counselors that are former military, but I will speak to the younger active duty members, men and women that are currently serving, like my two sons. And $2 is a lot for them when they're 20 years old, 22, and they want to go out and go golfing and hit some balls, and they're in town after deploying for 6 months, serving their country, and they're in on a fixed income, and with the cost of rent and everything else around here, it adds up. $2 for the cart, a few bucks here. So my question, we delineated out for everything else but the carts. I just wanted to know what the mindset was, because I was one of the ones who brought up the military discount when I was on the board before, and it got approved from here. And I said I would be coming back to speak about the carts, and it was said at the meeting that they would take that into consideration in the previous year. So that's my question. Is there a reason you offer it here but not all the way through the whole thing? That's my question.
I guess we'd have to go back and watch rewatch the meetings. I don't remember you specifically saying or being brought up at a GAB meeting, the idea of a military discount for carts.
Yeah.
Again, as I said earlier, this is the first time that I'm aware it's been brought up. I could be incorrect. Maybe you did bring it up last year. But my recollection is this is the first time that it's been brought up. We do provide discounts, as you pointed out, for the military in both the areas of season passes and greens fees.
So my point is the $2 or $2.50 or whatever was said, it adds up. It's the cumulative number that you look at. It's all the way across the greens fees, and then you add all that up. So it does add up. And we have a very transient community and a lot of veterans. As we're sitting here saying we want to hire a veteran person to help with veteran affairs, you can't tell me that a veteran's not going to say the $2 added on to everything else does add up. And we've talked about the cost and the need. And so, again, that's my thing. If you're offering it at the top, it should be all the way through. It's a hard read, honestly, that it's not offered. And it's a simple addition, 62 plus, and add military on the end of that. That's it. It's one word, and you're done. We're already there. And just like it is on the other lines. So that's my thought. Thank you.
Any other discussion? No? Okay. We'll vote on the amendment to add military to the senior carts pricing. All those in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
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 Nay.
And I'm going to abstain. So that's 1, 2, 4. So that motion fails. 2, Bordelon and Fitzgerald, and 1 abstention, Parker. So we're to the main motion. All those in favor?
I have a question, so. We only
Oh,
spoke
we're in a
once.
motion.
We're still in
No,
main motion.
we're-
We weren't done, and everyone didn't speak twice. So it goes back to the main motion.
your second time for the main motion.
Thank you. Can you speak to why we're not delineating out a difference in fees for residents and non-residents? I mean, again, it's back to the carts. And again, I'm not judging, I'm just asking because I've been asked. When we hit the carts, it seems like everything changes from the pattern. Why under that are we not changing the fee for residents? Because again, as a resident taxpayer of the town, people want to feel that they are getting a benefit for being a resident here. So why is there not a delineation there?
The delineation is in the greens fees and for the season pass holders.
But that doesn't explain the carts. Why are we not putting it in the carts? I can see what you just said. I'm asking why is it not being considered for carts? What was your rationale?
Again, I don't think it's ever been brought up. In the 14 years that I've been the director, I don't recall it ever being discussed that, we would have resident and non-resident cart fees. And so it's what we have, it's what's been presented in the past.
Do other towns delineate it out?
I'm not sure. I don't have that.
I probably,
See if I can pull that sheet up.
because I think when I pulled it up, it did, this is from my notes, when I did my research before tonight. Again, I just think if you're gonna do it here and here, it should flow all the way through. It's just continuity, is what I call it, right? Like, when you go to most places, it's, you get 10% off, they don't say, not the appetizers, not the dinner, it's, it's usually across the board kind of discount. So if you're
Yeah.
gonna have a
And-
resident fee, you're gonna have a resident column, that resident column should be lower than the non-resident, across the board, for carts as well.
Right.
If you're gonna have military fees, you should have military fees across the board. The carts should match the playing, that's all. I don't care what the numbers are in there. You guys can talk about the numbers, but it should, in my opinion, flow a little bit more smoothly is all. And again, maybe something to look at again next year. We can put it towards that. But I would just love to see the military added, and I'd love to see the cart fees for residents. Residents, this is our hometown. This is where we choose to live. There should be some benefit, and that should be across the whole spectrum. So something to look at. And if you don't have an answer today and it never was thought of, I don't know, just because it hasn't been brought up in 14 years, it's not a bad idea to look at it. You know what I mean? And kind of consider it and see. There's a way to do it where you would still be making positive revenue. But, I do think from the people I heard from, They didn't like the fact that they're paying the same fees for carts. They didn't like that the military rate wasn't added down there. Again, part of this is making it digestible to the community and showing the community that, there's a benefit, right? Like, you might not have a lot of military now, but there's a benefit, and it's across the board. It doesn't matter the dollar. It's the cumulative whole package deal from top of this menu down to the bottom. So that's my thought, and I will send something, a letter, so that way it is, and I did have my notes from before. Again, I was one of the ones who got the military fee in the top, so I know I brought about the carts. I didn't have the vote then. But I do encourage us to consider that in the future, so it just reads more smoothly. Thank you.
Counselor Jones?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And Director Barry, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe we don't own the carts. It's an expense to the golf course. We basically kind of rent them. And so where everything else on the golf course is everything that we control, people walking around in our golf course, where the carts is a separate item. You don't actually have to use a cart. It isn't required to play golf. You can walk also, or take a cart with you, a walking cart. But these are very, very fair compared to the surrounding communities, and I think it partly a reflection is that it's an expense to the golf course that's being covered by the players. So am I correct on that, Director Barry?
Yeah, yes, that is correct. We lease the golf carts. Usually it's a 5-year lease.
Okay.
And I did pull up the sheet that we compare a couple of the courses, and neither one have resident and non-resident cart rates. They're all straight across the board.
Counselor Jones, all set?
I'm set. Yep.
Okay. Counselor Pacino?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm looking at this spreadsheet. You folks did a great job. It really looks great. Very understanding. I see that there are 9 different price points for season passes. There are 10 different price points for greens fees, and we're talking about golf carts here. It's not a big deal. I don't think you have 9 or 10 different price points for the soda machine. So I don't think the restaurant has 9 different price points for a beer. So with that said, I am not for this. No, I am for this, as is. So I'm not going to worry about the military rate. We're all set with that. And as a military retiree, I have never asked in my career or my retirement for a discount. It's not what we do. It's not who we are. If you want to offer it, thank you very much. We don't ask for it. And I'm not making any pitch to ask for it. I'm good.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, moving to the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? That's a 0. So it's 6 to 1 to 0 with Council Borderline opposed. Any other business?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn has been made
Second.
by Council Borderline, seconded by Burrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:14 PM. Thank you, everyone.